Brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. This is On the Block with Strick and Nate.
Just one more day of sad music. I promise this is the last day. After this, we'll go back to hype music, get you guys going. You know what, actually, I'm going to take suggestions. 402-464-5685. Let us know, what are you guys feeling for an intro to On the Block? Turns out the entrance, serious, Chicago Bulls, Nebraska Cornhuskers, whatever you want to interpret as, that didn't work out. Box says that we're not allowed to use jump around. That's officially for Wisconsin. Drift away. Sometimes you just feel like you want to drift away when you watch Nebraska football. So we're going to be sad for one more day because we're bringing in Strick. We're going to get his thoughts. We want to have your thoughts too. 402-464-5685. Starter Heyman text line, Honda of Lincoln hotline. You can also check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. You can also hit us up on all of those platforms. Let us know your thoughts because we have one more day of, I'm not going to say doom and gloom, but we're still going to be recapping the Northwestern game, getting all of Strick's thoughts on all of that. Still want to get your guys' thoughts, like I said, too. And then we'll start previewing North Dakota, and we're going to get happy again. We're going to start drinking the Kool-Aid. We're going to start talking 11-1. Not everything is crashing down yet, but again, we just have one more day, and we're going to recap the Northwestern game and get all of Strick's thoughts. Eric Strickland, Husker Hall of Famer, how you doing, my man?
In the building. I mean, I'm hanging. I'm hanging, but I ain't hang myself, but I'm hanging, doggone it. There's times where I wanted to just go and, it was a sad thing, man. I mean, I really saw the fans, we're blessed to be sitting in a seat, in a suite. And so I got a pretty good purview of kind of just the fans and the reactions. And, they were very into it early, and you can just tell as it got later, you could just tell it was one of those things where it was starting to wane a little bit. Just a lot of concern on the fans' minds. Yeah.
Well, let me say then, because I know I've gotten Jay's thoughts, DP, the guys who talked about it on the happy hour. I guess the biggest thing is now that you've let it simmer, you've let it settle, you've kind of recapped things. Maybe you've rewatched some plays, rewatched some of the game. I know a lot of us here at the station. Are you less mad, less frustrated? I mean, how are you feeling here now a couple days after the loss here on Saturday?
Well, I will say this. I will say that I think this could be a learning lesson. It is one of those things where I think they can, it doesn't kill you if you have this type of – obviously, this is not what you want because this is what you've seen over the last years, the Illinois and these type of losses that shouldn't be the losses that Nebraska's having, especially with the expectations that were so high for this Nebraska team. So I think you got to go to the drawing board. I think there's a lot of coachable and teachable moments about not taking people for granted, how to bury the hatchet when it's, when you've got them under your thumb, how to continue to put the pressure on them. I think there's a lot of things you can learn from that. There's some troubling things that I'm hoping that if you continue to just go on the film, that you can really break down and really challenge the players that they've got to get better. You talked about how much better you were getting, but exactly. You know what I mean? It didn't translate to the game, and that's what's disappointing, I think. Yes, I was sipping Kool-Aid. Again, it was a road game for Nebraska. They still got 7 at home that they need to take care of, and that's starting this weekend. The thing to watch is what they've talked about, stacking days. And when they have mistakes or when they have bad days or when things happen, then how are you going to recover from that? What are you going to do different to change the outcome? I feel bad for the young man on the drive, and the second string tight end. I feel bad for him. I know that had to be a long ride home. The ball goes through your fingers. How many opportunities are you going to get? And that goes through your fingers to an interception to help you lose the game as you're driving to try to tie or win the game. I feel bad for him. Hopefully the young man can get better from that. And as Cluster Johnson has talked to when he came on the show about how the coaches challenged them in how they had to make a difference in what they were doing on the practice field. So yeah, we'll see.
Here's a bit of my concern, and I want to get your thoughts on this. And we didn't really dive into this too much yesterday, and we didn't really dive into it too much here on the other shows. Is this North Dakota game kind of a lose-lose situation for Nebraska? Like, maybe lose-lose is the wrong way of putting it, but it's like, okay, you come in, you're at home, you're coming off a big loss, you beat North Dakota by, I don't know, 30, 40 points. Everyone's going to say, okay, it's North Dakota. That's what you're supposed to do. Like, this isn't North Dakota State. I want to make that very clear, how some people on Twitter and social media have said, it's North Dakota, not North Dakota State. But then on the flip side, say you get out with a win, you win by 14 points, is the discussion that we're having is, oh, great, this team's only beating North Dakota by 14 points. Like, that's what I'm kind of worried about, is that this team is in a lose-lose situation, because no matter what happens here on Saturday, we're still going to be critiquing it one way or the other.
It is very much a lose-lose, but I think it can also provide context for where they go from here. It's got to be a dominating game. All aspects of their total game, from special teams to offense to defense, the areas where they struggled, they have to dominate, and that's only going to, it's not going to change the narrative. The narrative is going to be what the narrative is going to be. It's not going to change. Right. That's not going to change. What's going to change it is if you're seeing improvement, right? If you're seeing the things being corrected, that's the way you've got to look at it. You can't look at it from a standpoint of who they're playing or what they're playing. You've got to look at it in the thing of growth. If I can use basketball as a thing, as an analogy, there's teams that you're definitely on paper way better than. The way you get in trouble is if you play down to your competition. That's when you get into trouble. The way that you grow is you learn how to compound the good things and not harp on the negatives, right? So you got to learn how to build on, taking care of the ball, how you build on moving the chains, how you build on making plays, because there was a lot of drop balls, right? All of these areas that they need to grow and get better at. That's how you come in showing that you've learned, or you're growing, or you're getting better. Not necessarily what the end score is going to be, but the little things in the game. Are you taking advantage of weaknesses that they may have and exploiting them? And like in basketball, it was very much like the Utah Jazz, right? If I can use the Utah Jazz in the Stockton and Malone era, Nate, in the Stockton and Malone area, you knew what they were going to run. They were going to run pick and roll. They were going to run it with him, and pretty much they were going to run plays for Karl Malone. They were going to run off that pick and roll. You knew what they were going to do. They were maybe going to run Jeff Hornacek off of a couple plays. You knew exactly what they're going to do. The issue is you had to stop it. If you don't stop it, guess what they do? They continue to run the same. They run the same play to exhaustion until you do something about it. That's what you got to hope that the change is going to be in this next game come Saturday.
Texter says, why are we even thinking Nebraska will beat them by a lot? Wilmot says, my high school coach always preached, if you can touch the ball, then you need to catch the ball. There were certainly a couple passes there at the end that Casey Thompson, I don't know if I would credit with the interception. Obviously, that's just how football works. And then Gus says this, Nathan, you're right. North Dakota game is a no-win game. Maybe if the Huskers look smooth and efficient in all three phases and win by 50, it might be used as a stepping stone. Thanks. The thing is, and this is what I'm just worried about with the North Dakota game, because I know how Husker fans react, and I know how fragile the fan base is right now, especially coming off this loss to Northwestern. I don't think anyone is going to be satisfied, whether it be the team, the media, the fans. Like, you can go across the board. I look at, even if you're beating North Dakota by 50 and you look great, at the end of the day, how much can you really take from that? Like,
big facts.
I just... And there is something to be said, like you said, Strick. I think if you show actual improvement, you're making the tackles you're supposed to, You're getting push on both sides of the ball, the defensive line, offensive line. Like, you're not getting blown in coverage. Like, there are small things, obviously, that you can take from and say, okay, this is some type of improvement. But you also have to look at it as whether we want to say Northwestern is, or whether we're going to say that Nebraska is not going to beat out North Dakota or whatever have you. You should. North Dakota, simply put, is an inferior opponent. This is the University of Nebraska, and you are playing North Dakota. Like, let's not try and overanalyze this here, okay? It is just simply put, Northwestern, it is what it is. You should have beat them. You were 13.5-point favorites. I understand all of that. But it's still a Big Ten West opponent. It's still a Power 5 team with a proven coach that has a track record of winning. This is North Dakota coming into Memorial Stadium. Like, what has happened here? And I'm worried that it's a no-win situation. Texter says this: when Clay Helton and Georgia Southern beat Nebraska, will Frost be fired? I think Georgia Southern is more of the discussion we need to be having. Listen, North Dakota, under no circumstance should you even be in the same football game. Listen, by the second half, you should be playing Chubba Purdy, Logan Smothers, all those guys, 100%. Georgia Southern, we can have a discussion. They're tough, and they have a proven coach in Clay Helton. I think that might do it. I don't know if you wait until the buyout for that point.
Yeah, I think that does it. I think I'm with you on that one. I think that does it. Mm-hmm.
Well, this goes into my next question for you then, Strick, after I went on my little bit of a rant there. Sorry, I feel like North Dakota is just the butt of my jokes today. I feel kind of bad making fun of North Dakota. I don't even know what their mascot is. Help me out, text line. Are we at the point now that I hate to say it because it's focused on the opponent in front of you, but at this point, like, to be honest with you, the only thing going through my mind is Oklahoma. And I don't know if that's just me, but it's just like, listen, this is Nebraska. You should beat North Dakota. You should beat Georgia Southern. I'm focused on Oklahoma. I am. And is that wrong of me? And do you think that's a game the fan base should be focused on right now?
Trick question on that one. Again, I think there's nuance to this. I think it's important. That's one of the probably next important games. I don't think these are important. I think it's important for Scott Frost. I think on that level it's important. I don't think it's important as far as, their season and how it goes from here. I think that Oklahoma game is that point where you're really gonna have an idea, and then you're gonna have an idea as to the trajectory of what this team's going to be, as to how well they play in that Oklahoma game. What happens after that is I look next after the Oklahoma game to revenge games. I look to those to see how they compete, and are they able to handle business with chips on your shoulders about how those teams have beaten you, or consistently beaten you, or they've beaten you for the last 4 years, or whatever the case may be. That's where my eye turns to from that. It's these next two games. Learn, grow, prepare, because Oklahoma's coming in to steal one. They're going to be highly ranked, and they're coming to get it. So what you're going to do about it? Are you going to, succumb to the pressure, or are you going to step up and, put your thing up high?
For what it's worth, Oklahoma is number 9 in the country right now. They have 2 cupcake games before they come here to Memorial Stadium to play Nebraska, so they could be even higher than that. I don't see them going much lower than number 9. They'll be a top 10 football team. Okay, so let's play this game then, Strick. I want you to tell me the biggest thing Nebraska needs to focus on moving forward, and I know it's probably going to be one of your keys to victory that you went over last week that they just simply didn't do. And then I want some positives that we can take from this game moving forward. Okay.
Well, again, some of the things that we talked about that they didn't do is that they didn't handle the adversity. We talked about them being able to make the adjustments. One of the things that I saw with them regarding that is shoulder slumping, head down. There was no collective coming together, raising the roof, getting everybody, geeked up about what we need to do here. You saw that on the last drive, right? They 3 downs. They need a big stop, probably 3rd and 5, 3rd and 4. Boom, they get gashed for 12. Boom, they get hit for 16. Then you're like, wait a second, that stuff can't happen. If you're going to be a winning team, that's when your defense, that's when your offense needs to either make plays, make the catch. I thought that what put them in trouble was a nice pass thrown from Casey Thompson to Marcus Washington right through his fingers. I mean, so now you're going from maybe a 3rd and 3 type of situation to your 3rd and long. You don't finish it off. So a lot of those things were happening. Their plays look very Iowa-ish to me, very basic. Like that was what concerned to me. It was a lot of just basic routes and different things like that. Couple situations they missed, had Trey Palmer breaking deep, didn't convert those. Like those are the situations where good teams convert. You know what I mean? Like you have a guy breaking over the safety and pass. You've got to hit him. You know what I mean? One was thrown out of bounds. I think I want to say it was maybe Marcus Washington. He broke out. So you've got these situations that, okay, it's the first game. Yes, you may miss some, but if you don't make those in these type of games, or take advantage of that, trouble. The turnover situation was number 2, right? We talked about how they need to do a better job of creating turnovers and winning the turnover battle. They lost that. That's one of the other issues that they had a problem with. They don't do a good job of tackling together, trying to strip the ball, all of those different things that you need to try to do to give yourselves opportunities. Great hit by the cornerback to lodge the ball free. That gave him another opportunity. But then Castaneda just not aware of where the defense is coming from. I saw it happening. I said, yeah, he don't see that guy on the outside, or he don't feel him on the outside. Guy comes in, strips the ball from him. That's a turnover that's crucial because now you're on the 10 going in. That can change the whole dynamic of the game. So then, so that was another issue. And we talked about tug of war. We talked about front line play. They didn't do that. It was the opposite way. We talked about 150 for Nebraska. Plus, they need it. Northwestern comes up with 200 yards.
200 between two guys.
200 between 2 guys. So that right there in itself, that's a losing combination. And we talked about it here on the block on what would be a problem for them if they didn't handle those specific things.
And then just real quick, I know we have to get to the EAS here in a second. Positives from the game Nebraska can move off of.
I thought their punting game was good. I thought the punting game gave them good field position opportunities. Obviously, the defense didn't take advantage of that. But I thought he did a good job of keeping them down underneath the 20, 40, 50-yard punts, changed the field position, turned it around. I think that I wasn't too disappointed with the cornerback play. Great safety play sometimes, coming up, making big hits. So I think they can grow from that. I think they can grow in looking at Anthony Grant, like find ways to create holes for him in the run game. I thought you saw a solid running back. He's really the only one that did anything in the run game. I didn't see any screens as they started to try to come with pressure. They were giving problems late for Casey Thompson. I didn't see any screens. They could have maybe thrown Ramir Johnson in there, maybe got a couple of screens to see it. So I didn't see diversity in their play calling enough to make me feel good about it.
What's interesting, too, is Scott Frost today at his press conference, he talked that Nebraska did have pretty creative offense, did have some creative plays. I'm not so entirely sure about that. I still need to get Strick's thoughts on.
Oh, I hate that Vokalek. Man, he was starting to come alive.
Yeah,
he was looking real good, man. I hate that he went down, and there's really no one that's really to follow him up.
That was my breakout player on offense.
Yeah, he was making it happen. So that was a positive from the tight end position.
And out of all of this, still haven't got Strick's thoughts on the onside kick. We'll have that next, right here on the block. 937 The Ticket.
The following is a test of the emergency alert system.
ordering Facebook to shut down the Hunter Biden laptop. The story is Russian disinformation, which, again, they knew was a lie.
Wow. Did you ever save me money on my car?
Yes, that's why our customers keep coming back.
How do you do it, friendly car dealer ?
We simply have low overhead and high trade-in values. The next line's yours.
Oh.
Ready for something better? Mullen Motors is a no-hassle, no-pressure dealership with financing available. Check out the inventory at MikeMullenMotors.com.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
You work way too hard to blend in. It's time for your business to stand out from the crowd. Revolution Wraps takes your image to the next level with professional, high-quality vehicle wraps, signage, interior graphics, trade show displays, and plenty more. They do it all in-house, from design to print to installation. Call Revolution Wraps in either Lincoln or Omaha for a free quote today at 402-475-2886. Or see what they can do for your business online at revolutionwraps.com. Revolution Wraps. Start something big.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank. A relationship you can count on.
Another warm, late August day on the way. We'll top out near 90 this afternoon. The north wind at around 10. Plenty of sunshine. Overnight clear skies with a low dropping down to around 58. Even warmer tomorrow with a high of 94. Very slim chance of some late afternoon storms. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Get an immediate look back at the game from the people who know it best. It's the Tanner's post-game show and the final word live from Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. Hear from former players and national champions like Jay Foreman, Rashawn Jackson, and Aaron Davis and see what they saw in that day's game. It's the Tanner's post-game show and the final word, live and in person, home or away at Tanner's Bar and Grill, brought to you by Brand Excavating. Only here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Join us this Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. at Cornhusker Bank at 84th and O for a tailgate to get ready for Nebraska's first home game. DP&J will be on air with a guest appearance by Larry the Cable Guy with free food and drink for the whole 2 hours. That's this Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. at Cornhusker Bank on 84th and O.
This show's pretty rockin', huh?
Yeah, I'm so glad my State Farm agent helped me go.
Huh?
My State Farm agent. They help me with options to personalize my auto insurance to get a great rate that fits my budget, so I don't have to give up the things I love.
Wow. Hey, so do you think I could get your State Farm agent's number?
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krekak, at 402-474-1173.
Individual premiums and budgets will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
Hi, this is Kurt, your shop manager at A1 Automotive here in downtown Lincoln. My promise to you is this: you won't find another automotive repair facility that genuinely cares about you and your vehicle. Our service is outstanding and our customer service is better. Please give me a call for all your automotive repair questions and needs. Call me at 402-477-4660. We were built on small town values, and that shows in how we treat others. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Eustace Body Shop, where our customers send their friends. That's the greatest compliment we can receive. If you've been in an accident, we'll get you back in your vehicle as quickly as possible. Our technicians care about you and your family and repair your vehicle to factory standards. We handle your claim from start to finish and provide a free loaner car. Stop by for a free estimate. Eustace Body Shop, just south of 88th and Highway 2.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
Tune in to the Teammates Mentoring Hour each Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket. Hear stories from the program started by Tom and Nancy Osborne and how it's changed mentors and mentees' lives and how you can be involved. The Teammates Mentoring Hour, Wednesday nights from 6 to 7 o'clock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay. Playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
I grew up hearing that women are bad with money. But like many of you, I spent years paying bills, managing checking accounts, and taking care of my family. So turns out women are pretty good with money after all. And now I'm taking control of my financial future by saving for retirement. It's never too late to start, and there's a great website to help you. Check out WeSaySaveIt.org and jumpstart your retirement savings on your budget and your timeline. That's WeSaySaveIt.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Nate on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to On the Block. You're listening to 93.7 The Ticket. I am Nate Brennan. I'm once again reunited. I don't even know what other words am I looking for? Re-engaged.
Reunited because it feels so good. No, but listen.
There you go.
Listen, Nate, I got something I got to throw your way, my boy. Since I've been out of the country and now just returning back, what is the sentiment based on, the other shows and, because I've been traveling in the air and stuff, but what is the sentiment of the locals, the fans, the news? What are the writers saying?
Well, I'll go ahead and let you guys help me answer that question. 402-464-5685. Honda of Lincoln Hotline, Starter Heyman text line, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. You can engage with us on all of those platforms as well. Yesterday, I was just yesterday I started out on the block, Strick, and it was just me, and I was just kind of ranting to myself. I had some people kind of chiming in as well. And I think the general consensus that I've gotten, and there's a few people that are still lingering and aren't quite there yet. The last Frost defenders, the Frost apologists, however you want to interpret the people that still thought Frost was the answer for the program, a lot of them have walked, and a lot of them are ready to move on. And and this was the question that I got was from a lot of people that, well, how could you go so quickly off of one game from defending the guy to then turning against him? And this was my response, and kind of a similar response that I got from a lot of our text line. You made all these changes so it wouldn't look like the same old Nebraska. Like the reason that you hit the transfer portal, you decided to make a change at quarterback, you decided to make a change at the offensive coordinator, you asked Scott Frost to take a CEO role. So many changes happened within the program as a whole. And then by the second half, after the onside kick, which we'll get into, Strick, it looked like the same old Nebraska. And that's what was most frustrating for me, is that first half, maybe not towards the end when Northwestern got that last-second touchdown and then went up at half. That rubbed me a little wrong way. But you looked at that first drive, and that first half as a whole, and then coming right out of the third quarter, you get a stop, touchdown, stop, touchdown. It's like, oh my gosh, this team's handling adversity. This is a different Nebraska team. This is what we've been asking for. And then after that damn onside kick, it looked like the same old Nebraska. And I thought it was going to change, and I think a lot of the fan base was with me too, that all of these changes, it would look different, and it just looked exactly the same. And I think a big part of it is frustration towards Scott Frost. A lot of it's kind of a deflated feeling. But I will say, I want to give Nebraska fans credit, Strick, because time and time again, Nebraska fans will get hurt, and they will always find positives. A lot of people are still drinking the Kool-Aid. It's just one game. You played a Big Ten West opponent. You played Pat Fitzgerald. Northwestern's a good team. You're playing at a neutral site. You're playing halfway across the country. There are still some positives. But the biggest reaction that I've gotten from the fan base is that Frost is going to have to do something and something soon to prove that he needs to be the head coach of Nebraska.
I really want to tap into this one too, because I hate that I missed Vershawn's show. Vershawn probably more than anybody. I sipped on some Kool-Aid. I put a little bit of sugar in it. I'm from the South.
I did too. Yeah.
We're used to pouring some, a lot of sugar in the Kool-Aid. I was feeling confident. I think even like you, for the first half, I was okay. I was like, yeah, I like what I see right now.
Yeah,
I like that they were able to get off the field a few times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There were some things I was liking. But then it just seemed like Deflategate. It felt like they took air. It felt like they they poked a hole in Little Red. Like they've been trying to shank Little Red all this time. It was like they put a hole in Little Red and he just said, he just deflated, right? So what was Vershawn's take after this? Is he still heavy on the red Kool-Aid, or did he kind of take a step back?
Let's just say Vershawn's not happy. I think from what I gathered is Vershawn still absolutely loves this program. For the most part, he still believes in this program. But you got to think, and Jay is a good person to talk to about this. We'll have Old School here in the next, starting to hear at 4 o'clock. They'll have a crossover with us at the end of on the block as well. A lot of it is, this is just time and time again, this Nebraska team. Not that it's supposed to look like the 90s team, because those teams were some of the best teams to ever play the game of college football. But those teams had heart. Those teams had grit. Those teams showed in and game out, and the mentality was that I'm going to punch you in the mouth. In this team, and you could talk on it too, Strick. You were at Nebraska when football was running the show. It was 10 wins, and if you don't get 10 wins, like, it's a failure of a season. And you went into every game saying, I'm going to punch somebody in the mouth. And it just feels like this team just doesn't have that vibe. And from what I've gathered from Vershawn and Jay, it seems like that's the biggest frustration.
I would agree. I think that's one of the things that I was hoping to see out of this team was some grit, some heart, some grime, just some edge to not talking about edge rushers. I'm talking about just edge, like of being a cut above the rest. Yes. And people are starting to talk about Big 20. Listen, they won't win a game against top Big Ten West contenders if they have holes the way that they were letting be open, because they're just going to run it down your throat. They're even going to have to pass the ball. The only one that may be throwing it on a regular is because they've got Aiden O'Connell, and that's Purdue, and they may just exploit it, but it'll be play action heaven for them. It was very just disappointing to see certain areas, but I'm still optimistic. I'm still going to say I'm watching these next two games to see what type of growth they have going into that Oklahoma game. It would have been so much more hype to it if they would have won this game.
That's the biggest thing. Yeah.
Right? Won this game with the other two. I don't know if it has the same savor in my mouth. And I ate some really good steak over there, by the way. It doesn't have the same savor. But I will say I'm still optimistic. But they have a lot to show me before I can really jump back and feel comfortable about what I'm seeing and feeling from this Nebraska team.
Well, I think that's a good question that'll be my follow-up, Strick, is what is it going to take? And I want to ask everyone on the text line, too, because I like to get the fans' perspective of this as well. 402-464-5685. You can also check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. What does it take in these next two games for you to have some type of, I don't even know if confidence is the word, just optimism? Because if you told me that Nebraska was going to be playing Oklahoma this Saturday, I think the fan base is too deflated. I think everyone's checked out. I think that it's done. But the one benefit Nebraska does have is that they will play two games that they should win. So what does that look like to you to have some type of optimism going into that Oklahoma game?
I need to feel good about upfront movement, creativity in the run game. Don't keep beating a dead horse. If like they figured you out for some reason, they figured out up front how they're going to stunt, how they're going to get into gaps. They figured you out on your zone blocking scheme. So at that point, okay, if that's what they're doing, then we're gonna cut down, trap down on this guy. We're gonna roll this guard out on that tackle, and we're gonna zone read that. You know what I mean? Like it was like they had an expectation of domination. When it didn't happen, they didn't adjust. And I don't know if that's a Whipple thing. I don't know. I mean, that's the only person right now I can attribute it to because he's been given the reins. But it's to me like I expected them to go in at halftime, sit down, look at film or look at little excerpts of certain film breakdowns, show it to the linemen, just figure out, okay, here's what we need to do. Here's how they're lining up on us. Here's what we can do to create some space. They never tested any aspect outside of running in the middle or off tackle. They didn't show me anything different. And no stretches. They didn't do anything to stretch to try to test the edge or nothing. And it was no adjustments of any sort. And that's what was disappointing to me, is that this team just didn't make any adjustments of any kind. It seemed like it was like the linebackers always had a hat on them. They didn't do anything to create for the linebackers to have space to run. So it was like there was no clogging. But for Northwestern, it was like they were clogged. If it wasn't for jump cuts or one cut or cutbacks or anything like that, there was no room really for Nebraska for the most part. Some, but not much. So that's what I'm hoping for these next two games, is just to see some creativity in some form or fashion of finding ways to get the ball to their best guys.
I think my biggest thing, I'll go ahead and get to the text line first. Matt says nothing they can do against these opponents to make me have any optimism. Ladder Guy says, Ramir Johnson. Ladder Guy, I'm with you. It would be nice to see Ramir Johnson out there, whether it be in the backfield or in the slot. Craig says 400 yards rushing, 7 sacks, win the turnover battle. To be honest with you, Craig, against a team like North Dakota, that might be a little bit extreme, but I really don't think you're far off there, Craig. Like North Dakota, you should run it down their throat. You should be getting sacks because you brought in these edge rushers. You brought in O'Shawn Mathis. You brought in Devin Drew. You still have Garrett Nelson. The goal there is to get to the quarterback, so 7 sacks would certainly be nice. Joe in Boulder says, I think there's absolutely nothing they can show us in these next 2 games that will bring optimism. If they don't dominate both teams, you will bring more pessimism. Joe in Boulder, that goes back to my other point where I'm saying, in a sense, I'm worried that these 2 games are a lose-lose situation for Nebraska. Williams says, I thought Nebraska was bigger, stronger, faster. Nebraska will never win without a fullback. Hey, I would be fine getting a fullback back. And Ryan from Nashville says, I was worried Nelson was all hype. I think we still need to give it time for what it's worth, Ryan. I think Northwestern, I do think they were the inferior football team. But with that being said, I do think Northwestern has a competent, pretty good offensive line. I think you're going to see that throughout Big Ten play as well. There are going to be some Big Ten edge rushers that have a little bit of hype heading into the season that get locked down a little bit by their offensive line. Maybe pump the brakes a little bit on that. Definitely want to see more, though. That is for certain. Strick, my biggest thing that I want to see, and I don't know if it can be filtered into the rest of the season, if we can bring it into Big Ten West play. I just want to see an identity. And we have talked about that so much. And it's like, still, when I watch that game, I couldn't sit there and say, you know what? At least we can watch it and say, I get it. Like, I know what Nebraska's going for. It just didn't work out. I still didn't see an identity.
I didn't either. On either side of the ball, Nate. On either side. On either side.
No.
Yeah.
And I didn't see an identity on either side. And that was one of the big things I wanted to see. And it just seemed like kind of a hodgepodge of a bunch of different stuff. And I don't know if maybe these next 2 games you can figure that out or not.
Yeah, it's like with Gregory, with with Dominican Sue, with Jared Tomich, with Grant Wistrom. It's like when you stepped in, you knew their identity was outside linebacker, rush in you. It was like you knew that that's where they're coming. You knew that their defense, their linebackers were going to be running all over the place. Your Terrell Farleys and the likes of Jamel and all of those guys. You knew Toby Wright. You knew they were hard hitting and they were coming. And you better find them. Mike Mentors. Cornerbacks were going to be good with Tyrone Williams, Mike Booker and the likes of them, Baron Davis's, those type of guys, Kenny Will Heights. It was like you knew that when they said the bones, you knew
walking into the game, you knew it was going to happen.
You knew it was going to. You knew on offense that it was Tommy Frazier. You're lining up. You had Lawrence Phillips, Amon Green, Calvin Jones. You had it's running back. We're lining up. We're running this. We're running this option. What are you going to do about it?
Yes.
600 yards against Florida. You know what I mean? It was like you knew and you still couldn't do nothing about it. We're going to throw the ball 10 times and we're still going to run it down your throat. Your Zach Wiegers, your Rob Zadiskas. You know what I'm saying? It was like you knew their line was going to be beef up front. They were pancaking you, moving you, your Raiolas, all of them. You knew what was going to happen, and there was nothing you could do about it. This team, I just don't know. And that's what we talked about. Both things in basketball and football, we said last year there was no identity. I still don't see it. I know in volleyball, I know what they're working with. Great outside hitting play, good defense, and they're gonna be solid up front, and they're gonna block you, and they're gonna challenge you. You know what I mean? Outside and strong, their middle play. You know what they're gonna bring to the game. Right. And with them, you just don't have a clue. You just don't have.
I know. And I that was a big thing that we talked about too, is we just want to see Nebraska kind of form some type of identity, whatever that may look like. Again, it might look different than how it looked in the 90s, but at least it is an identity. It's something that you can build off of. Gus says definitely need to sacrifice Little Red. I don't know why you guys keep going after Little Red, but hey, maybe so. Ryan from Nashville says the only thing we can hope for now is that Northwestern turns out to be like 11-1, and this game wasn't a bad loss. And then he says, LOL. You never know, Ryan. He also says, yeah, but we can't even get a guy that's half of Burkhead, let alone all of these guys. The team is deeper than we think. I sure hope so. William says, you can't have an identity without tradition. Nebraska lost their tradition when Callahan came in. It's all gone. Return to tradition. Returning to tradition would certainly be nice, William. Hopefully we see that moving forward, and especially hopefully against Oklahoma. Go ahead and call us now since Strick is back. $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings is also back. We're going to have Shootout with Strick right after this on the block. Make sure you give us a call, 402-464-5685. $15 Buffalo Wings and Rings on the line right here on the block. 93.7 The Ticket.
Imagine your next staff meeting. Now imagine your next staff meeting with a side of ribs. Your next client presentation? Or that same client presentation with brisket and baked beans. It's better, right? Let Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul take care of all of your business catering needs. Feed the staff, cater your next event, whatever you need, Mary Ellen's can help. They can even host your events in their brand new event space located right next to the restaurant. Go see for yourself. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul at 29th and Pine Lake or online at maryellens.com. Let them fix you a plate. Chances are you've tried fruitcake before. Chances are it looked pretty weird. Lots of colors that don't really exist in nature. Chances are it tasted weird. Chances are you need to try fruitcake again. Grandma's fruitcake from Beatrice Bakery. None of that weird stuff you didn't like, just real fruit, premium nuts, and the delicious flavor combination of brandy, bourbon, and rum to meld all that together. See for yourself. Grandma's fruitcake from Beatrice Bakery. Online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
Hi, this is Kurt, your shop manager at A1 Automotive here in downtown Lincoln. My promise to you is this: you won't find another automotive repair facility that genuinely cares about you and your vehicle. Our service is outstanding and our customer service is better. Please give me a call for all your automotive repair questions and needs. Call me at 402-477-4660. We were built on small town values, and that shows in how we treat others. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Join us this Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. at Cornhusker Bank at 84th and O for a tailgate to get ready for Nebraska's first home game. DP&J will be on air with a guest appearance by Larry the Cable Guy with free food and drink for the whole 2 hours. That's this Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. at Cornhusker Bank on 84th and O.
Warhorse Casino is bringing winning opportunities to Lincoln. Get in on the action at our next job fair, Tuesday, September 6th from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Cornhusker Marriott. We're hiring trailblazers in every department: revenue auditors, IT, drop team, beverage servers, and more. Every employee is treated like family, and every role is essential in creating a one-of-a-kind experience. Go to warhorsecasino.com for more information or to apply.
You work way too hard to blend in. It's time for your business to stand out from the crowd. Revolution Wraps takes your image to the next level with professional, high-quality vehicle wraps, signage, interior graphics, trade show displays, and plenty more. They do it all in-house, from design to print to installation. Call Revolution Wraps in either Lincoln or Omaha for a free quote today at 402-475-2886. Or see what they can do for your business online at revolutionwraps.com. Revolution Wraps. Start something big.
Eustace Body Shop, where our customers send their friends. That's the greatest compliment we can receive. If you've been in an accident, we'll get you back in your vehicle as quickly as possible. Our technicians care about you and your family and repair your vehicle to factory standards. We handle your claim from start to finish and provide a free loaner car. Stop by for a free estimate. Eustace Body Shop, just south of 88th and Highway 2.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
Take your tan to the max at Max Tan. Right now, get 10 days for $10. All levels, including sun, spray, and red light. 4 Lincoln locations make it easy to take your tan to the max with no appointment necessary. 10 days, $10. Details online at maxtan.net.
There's a lot of realtors in Lincoln, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realtor Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate is your go-to option when buying or selling residential and commercial property. Ben's team offers unbeatable customer service and promises to make the buying and selling process as stress-free as possible. Call Ben today at 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate. No pressure, just professionalism.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 in the morning, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Trendy or traditional, Gary Michaels Clothiers specializes in men's tailored clothing. Off the rack or custom made to measure, there is simply no better shopping experience. Offering designer furnishings, sportswear, shoes, outerwear, and accessories for a man always concerned at looking his best. With world-class tailoring and personal service, all makes Gary Michaels Clothiers Nebraska's premier store for men. Come visit us now at Village Gardens, south of 56th and Pine Lake Road in Lincoln.
In every office, there's 2 types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. It's time to play Shootout with Strick. Call now, 464-5685. to take your shot against Eric Strickland. Shootout with Strick. Brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Time to play the game!
That is correct. It is time to play the game. Shootout with Strick is back. Your chance to win $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. Strick, to be honest with you, I don't remember if you finished on a win or a loss. Let's just say you start from scratch. It's been a while. How's that sound?
I won because it was a controversy because it was you. No, it wasn't you. It was Rico and the crew trying to basically say that I took the L because but the Sutter Heyman text line stepped in for Stricky and was like, wait a second. It was a great pump fake. It was a great pump fake with the left, dribble to the right, step back, and I hit the bomb. That's how it goes down. Straight Steph Curry style.
Confused what he did, but it was the controversy of whether Strick won because he changed his answer And then he said that he pumped fake. All right, here you go, Strick. Rico's got something.
You can't pump fake after the buzzer has already sounded.
No, the buzzer hadn't sounded yet, my boy.
Yeah, but in this instance, it did.
Oh my God!
All right, so I guess we still have some controversy over that.
Controversy.
I guess Rico won't forgive you for that.
Rico wants me to take the L, and we Bellevue West boys. That's what's crazy about it. We T-Birds, and he still want me to take that.
I know, and he's still got issues with you, Strick. So we'll go to the Honda Lincoln Hotline, Preston. Preston, today our trivia is Nebraska versus Northwestern, kind of recapping the game. Did you pay close attention, or did you end up shutting it off there in the fourth quarter?
I didn't really watch the whole entire game, so.
All right. Well, Strick was there at the stadium, so I don't know how well he would have been able to keep up with the statistics and all that. So it should be an interesting matchup. Preston, you know how this works. I'm going to have you stay on the line. We have to get Strick's answers first. See how many points that you have to get in order to get the chicken. Strick, are you ready?
Ready.
All right. We will start in 3, 2, and 1. Who is Northwestern's leading rusher? Cam Porter or Evan Hull?
This is going to hurt me. Ho!
That is correct. Who is Nebraska's leading receiver? Isaiah Garcia Castaneda or Travis Volkman?
Castaneda.
That is correct. Who is Nebraska's leading tackler? Luke Reimer or O'Shawn Mathis?
O'Shawn Mathis.
It was Luke Reimer. Who had the most sacks for Northwestern? A.J. Hampton or Xander Mueller?
A.J. Hampton.
It was Mueller. So he had Nebraska's only receiving touchdown?
Castaneda.
A pretty good score for you there, Strick. You will finish with 3 points. Or no, excuse me, 4 points. I'm not going to cheat.
Man, boy, I
know. I corrected myself. No, I corrected myself. 4 points. That's a pretty good score, especially being in there in the stadium, too. I've been to quite a few games in my day, and sometimes it's tough to keep track of all the stats and stuff like that when you're actually in the stadium. Preston, now knowing that Strick has 4 points, you feeling better or you feeling a little worse?
Feel a little worse.
All right. Well, hey, you just have a little bit of confidence because 4 points you can get, and then we'll go to a tiebreaker. And it's pretty tough today, so I don't know if Strick's going to get it. It'll make it pretty interesting. Preston, are you ready?
Yes.
All right. We will start in 3, 2, and 1. He was Nebraska's leading rusher, Anthony Grant or A.J. Allen?
Was it Allen?
It was Grant. Who was Northwestern's leading receiver, Malik Washington or Evan Hull?
Was it Washington?
That is correct. Who was Northwestern's leading tackler, Bryce Gallagher or Jeremiah Lewis?
Was it the second one?
No, it was Gallagher. He led Nebraska in quarterback hurries, Tommy Hill or Miles Farmer?
Tommy?
That is correct. And he led Nebraska in kick return yards.
Oh, I forgot this one. I can't think of it. I don't have a name.
Oh, right there at the buzzer, Preston. It was Trey Palmer. Trey Palmer led in return yardage. But luckily for you, Preston, go ahead and hang up now because the third caller is still going to get $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. So, Preston, you do still have a chance to win. So go ahead and hang up now. And again, the third caller will get $15 courtesy of Buffalo Wings and Rings because Strick plays for the people. Strick, here you go.
Boom shakalaka. Finish him. Give me a hell yeah. I said, give me a hell yeah.
All right, Strick, you know how this goes. For what it's worth, I'm going to give you the tiebreaker to see how interesting you would have made it had Preston gotten to the 4-point mark. So your tiebreaker question, Strick, both Nebraska and Northwestern punted 6 times. How many total yards did Brian Buschini for Nebraska punt for? Total yards.
275.
That is just, you know what? Just for that, I'll give you a
boom shakalaka.
You are 8 yards off. It was 283. So that would have made it very interesting had Preston then pushed it to a tiebreaker because Brian Buschini, 283 yards. Honestly, for what it's worth, I really don't think that the punting game was really too bad. That was a huge concern last year, but for what it's worth, Buschini, maybe he was the answer on special teams. I'm not entirely sure because it didn't look too bad. We're going to keep this Husker football talk going. We have a couple of texts and a couple of questions here on the video streams as well. We want to make sure to get that to you guys. Make sure you keep hitting us up. 402-464-5685, Starter Heyman text line. Strick is here. He's ready to go. He's going to answer your questions. We're going to keep dissecting this game against Northwestern because we are ready to move on to North Dakota. We got one more game recapping, figuring things out, and then we are going to move forward. So keep it coming. Keep the questions coming. 402-464-5685. We'll answer all of that next on the block. 93.7 The Ticket.
There's a lot of realtors in Lincoln, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realtor Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate is your go-to option when buying or selling residential and commercial property. Ben's team offers unbeatable customer service and promises to make the buying and selling process as stress-free as possible. Call Ben today at 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate. No pressure, just professionalism.
Tune in to the Teammates Mentoring Hour each Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket. Hear stories from the program started by Tom and Nancy Osborne and how it's changed mentors and mentees' lives and how you can be involved. The Teammates Mentoring Hour, Wednesday nights from 6 to 7 o'clock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
The Labor Day Savings Event is going on now at Schaefer's. Take advantage of store-wide savings, interest-free financing, and special Labor Day cashback rebates. Save on LG, Sony, and Samsung TVs and get up to 18 months interest-free. Choose from all the latest models. And you can sleep easy on a new Serta mattress set with adjustable base and up to $1,000 in savings. Hurry in for the Labor Day Savings Event going on now at Schaefer's, 48th and R, Lincoln.
Trendy or traditional, Gary Michaels Clothiers specializes in men's tailored clothing. Off the rack or custom made to measure, there is simply no better shopping experience. Offering designer furnishings, sportswear, shoes, outerwear, and accessories for a man always concerned at looking his best. With world-class tailoring and personal service, all makes Gary Michaels Clothiers Nebraska's premier store for men. Come visit us now at Village Gardens, south of 56th and Pine Lake Road in Lincoln.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank. A relationship you can count on.
Another warm, late August day on the way. We'll top out near 90 this afternoon. The north wind at around 10. Plenty of sunshine. Overnight clear skies with a low dropping down to around 58. Even warmer tomorrow with a high of 94. Very slim chance of some late afternoon storms. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You know that feeling after a good, hearty meal? The worries of the world just slip away. Time slows down. Nothing but good times and good company. That's what you get with Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Mary Ellen's does food right, with a menu that includes smoked wings, pulled pork, brisket, catfish. And don't sleep on their sides, shrimp and grits, collard greens, baked beans. It's food that makes your heart happy. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul, just east of 27th and Pine Lake. Let them fix you a plate.
Warhorse Casino is bringing winning opportunities to Lincoln. Get in on the action at our next job fair, Tuesday, September 6th from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Husker Marriott. We're hiring trailblazers in every department: revenue auditors, IT, drop team, beverage servers, and more. Every employee is treated like family, and every role is essential in creating a one-of-a-kind experience. Go to warhorsecasino.com for more information or to apply.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Casey's General Stores is giving away 2 tickets to each Nebraska football home game this season. To enter, just head to any Casey's General Store location in Lincoln during the football season, scan the QR code at the front counter, and fill out the online form. One winner will be chosen at random 2 days before that week's game. So head over to Casey's, stock up on all your tailgating snacks and drinks, and register to win 2 tickets to a Nebraska football game, brought to you by Casey's General Store and 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
The dog days of summer are here. Is your yard in need of a touch-up as we head into the fall season? August, September, and October are the months for aeration, and Penner Sprinkler and Lawn is the place to call to get the job done right. If you're noticing any issues with your sprinkler system through the hot summer months, they're always a call away, and they're already scheduling installs for sprinkler systems for next year and all other lawn care needs. Call Penner Sprinkler and Lawn today at 402-413-1215.
This is On the Block with Strick and Nate. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for 3! You're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
And Hokie Homer turned Husker, Nathan Brennan.
Everyone knows that I'm the smartest person here.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. This is On the Block with Strick and Nate.
We're back. On the block for the second hour, it is me, Strick, and my great partner in crime. Not in crime. We don't commit crimes here. We just hang out on the block. That's all we do. You can see
that's all we're doing.
It's easy peasy. You know, just sit back, relax. But we thank you all for joining us on the block for the second hour. We thank you to our listeners that are also on the streaming for Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitter. I don't know if it's Twitter, whatever it is, but nonetheless, you're there. But I do have some things I do want to address. Listen, had a great time over in Europe. The place was on fire in a place out there called Buskers. Got to see a lot of former Huskers out there. Steve Taylor, Amon Green, Randy Stella, Kenny Bell. All of those came out and was there in the spot.
Jake Sorensen.
Jake Sorensen, me and him caught up.
Not an athlete.
Up on me.
He was there.
Nah, but he was there, man. He's one of the favorite ones on the early break, Jake Sorensen. But it was a great bunch of what was sad, I think, Nate, to me was this. I was looking forward to catching up with those guys down there on the Temple Bar Street area again after a big win. I just wasn't even motivated. Like, I can only imagine if it goes south come this weekend, and it's just like they barely, like, what is O Street going to be about if they just barely win? Is that something to celebrate? Sutter Heyman text line, tell me. 402-464-5685. You can always tap in there if you have something that you would like to share, a thought or concern, or something that just kind of moved you the wrong way. The Honda Lincoln hotline is always open. 402-464-5685. But what is it going to be like? A couple people text in from the stream on YouTube. Question goes out there as well to everybody on the Sutter Heyman text line. Do you think Nebraska can beat OU? That's one. But I love the follow-up by BJ Arroyo on the YouTube stream. Always go there and tap in, man. Hit the notifications. Also subscribe. We're still trying to get to 1,500 subscribers and continue on throughout the season. But nonetheless, BJ says, NU can beat OU. This is his answer to the question. This ain't my answer. NU can beat OU if OU gets COVID, monkeypox, and forgets half the team on the flight from Norman. But there's always a chance. My thing is this. I still speak from the words of the great coach down at Arizona. Arizona State. And he says this: you play to win the game.
That's your boy.
That's my boy, man. Listen, you play to win the game no matter what, man. The ball's got to go get kicked off. The ball's got to be returned. You got to step on the field. You got to play the game. And so I'm hoping that this could be a different outcome, hopefully, because I don't know. I didn't go, but I was looking forward to going. I just didn't even have the energy to go out there, man, and want to be in that atmosphere, because I probably would have been, somebody would have bumped into me wrong. I might have been stuck over in Ireland somewhere. Somebody, shoulder bumped me wrong. And it wasn't even like they were trying to. It's just so crowded that I might have flexed or something. It would have been a bad look.
And then BJ says a win is a win at this point. 3-10 in the last 13. Yikes. So you got to get rid of that losing record too. I believe it's now up to 7 games in a row. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm wrong there. Text line. Justin says, my hope is that Scott Frost learns a little bit from Tecmo Bowl, and instead of the onside kick, attempts the squid kick. Tecmo Bowl. Good shout out there, Justin. Ham and Bean says, is there an all fair catch team? Definitely saw a lot of fair catches. A few of them a little bit frustrating too. I'm kind of with you there. Ham and Beans. D-Ron says, not even motivated to tailgate, will to see friends, but what a disappointment this season already is. Hey, D-Ron, I'll say one thing. Your record prediction of 14-1, you're not entirely wrong yet. Hang in there, brother. You're not entirely wrong yet. 14-1 is still very possible. Do I think it's likely? No, not by any stretch of the imagination. But it is still possible. So keep that in mind there, D-Ron. There's always reason to tailgate, too. Drink a little bit more Kool-Aid. Throw a little tequila in there. Craig says, no way in hell Huskers beat Sooners. My 5-7 prediction looks pretty solid now. I'll get to that here in a second. Justin says, to take a quote from previous Purdue game, seems to be a winnable game. Nebraska ain't beating anyone. I almost wonder if Trev's already having conversations with people. Gus says, hey, I want a $25 gift certificate to Wingstop last Friday. Was seeing if my fiance could pick it up. Absolutely, Gus. Come stop by the station. Come check us out. We would love to go ahead and give you your prize that you won. I want to go back to Texter and Craig in this too. No way in hell Huskers beat Sooners.
What do you think? I mean, for real. Like, what do you think, that you've asked Stricky the question? Now I'm throwing it back at you. I'm not going to let you get away. You're not just going to be able to just slide off into the great good night and act like you don't know, you're not going to get this question. Because Bianca Ford on the YouTube stream asked you the question. She didn't ask Stricky. Right. She asked you the question.
So, listen, I was one of the biggest drinkers of the Kool-Aid. I still think Kool-Aid Man belongs to Rashawn Jackson. I don't think anyone was quite drinking the Kool-Aid like Rashawn was, but I was up there with them. I was drinking the Kool-Aid. Here's what I'll say. And I hate to bring up last year, and I'm not even talking about the product on the field. I'm talking about the morale, the optimism about the fan base when I say that. So take this with a grain of salt. Take this as you will. I think we need to remember last year, the game against Illinois had a little bit of a similar feeling. To me, this is a more sour taste. You made all these changes. Northwestern, it seems like, isn't a very good team. You go all the way over to Ireland. You lay an egg. Okay, maybe this one has a little more sour taste in my mouth.
And you have a short week. You have a long return. You're sick to your stomach. Everybody in that plane, I'm sure, wants to throw up. And then you have a short week. You got to go to practice. What does that look like? Okay, I'm going to let you go, but I'm picturing that thing.
Very similar to last year. You played against Illinois. Now, it wasn't nearly as long as a trip to come back home, but you still had to get on the bus. I'm assuming that they took a bus. They might have flown. I'm not entirely sure. Either way, you had to get on some type of transportation, come back, coming off of a terrible loss. Sour taste in your mouth. Let's all remember, last year, you play Fordham and you play Buffalo. You cover the spread against both. You take care of business, 2-1 going under that Oklahoma game. You lost to Oklahoma, but the feeling in the room after that game was, okay, maybe something's cooking here. Maybe Nebraska wasn't as bad as we thought they were. Maybe there's some optimism. I'm not saying that that's going to happen again, but I'm saying if you are the fan base, keep that in mind and keep that same optimism, that same energy if that happens again. Because I will say, Nebraska, for what it's worth, I feel still, even to this point, after losing to Northwestern, I still feel better about this team than I did about last year's team. And maybe that's just me not having too much faith in Adrian Martinez. Maybe that's me not having that much faith in Verduzco, which neither of those guys, I've been fairly critical of both here on the radio station. Maybe that goes into it. But I think we need to remember last year in that sense, because you had a very disappointing loss against Illinois. You took care of business the next two games. You played Oklahoma really well. And Strick, you can talk about it too. After that Oklahoma game, I felt kind of good. Like I obviously didn't play out for the rest of the season, but after that Oklahoma game, I was like, hey, we might have something going on right here. Like, this might not be too bad of a season. So I'm just saying, keep that in mind. Do I think they beat Oklahoma at this point in time? No. With that being said, I still think after you take care of business these next two games, which I think Nebraska will, I'm not going to go to the point in saying they're going to lose to Georgia Southern, North Dakota. My God, if that happens, start from scratch, blow it all up, figure something out, because that's unacceptable. But I think if they take care of business these next two games, I'm not going to lie, you could do something in these next two games to make me drink the Kool-Aid. I wouldn't be surprised here, and if 2 weeks I was saying, you know what, Nebraska could beat Oklahoma. I'm not there yet.
I'm not going to let you get away with that, because that's not enough. What is the thing that for you to see? What do you want to see in these next few games that would allow you to even sip and take a shot maybe of some Kool-Aid as opposed to drinking a whole cup?
I think the biggest thing is an identity, and we talked about that in the other segment, is whether that be on the defensive side or offensive side. Like, I think you hit it right on the head, Strick, when you said, like, in the 90s, and I know it's not the 90s, football is played very differently. I would say you probably don't even really have the athletes that you had, especially for that 95 team. At least you knew what they were going to do. You walked into every game and you said, you know what? They're going to run it down their throat. They're going to run the same 6-7 plays, and they're going to dare you to stop it. And guess what? You couldn't. Like, for crying out loud, if our identity is Casey Thompson just gripping and ripping, throwing 50 to 60 times a game, sure, you know what?
That's an identity.
At least it's something. Like, I didn't get that feel. The defensive side of the ball looked iffy at best. Like, I just want to see some type of resemblance or consistency of an identity. I don't know what that's going to look like, and I don't know if I can even really interpret that, but I want to see someone on the field be like, okay, if we're going to beat Oklahoma, that's how you're going to do it. Whatever they did consistently, time and time again, I want to see that against Oklahoma. That's how you beat them. If you said we threw out the same game plan, what we did against Northwestern, Nebraska gets blown out.
I will say this. I will say one thing I was impressed with. There was a player on the defensive side that I was actually impressed with just the energy that he seemed to be bringing to the game. His reads and reactions were really solid. He didn't miss anything that I saw kind of came his way. Was Isaac Gifford at the nickel position. I actually thought, for me, he was a little bit better than Kolarvik. I'm interested to see how he develops over there as well. Gifford really impressed me. I was watching him a little bit from that nickel position. Another person I saw on the defensive side, the cornerback. Oh shoot, my mind just drew a blank. I've been flying for like 24 hours. The one that backed up Tommy Hill. He came off. I loved his energy. Oh gosh, Strick, my mind just blew. Sutter Heyman text line helped me. He came in and backed up Tommy Hill. He got some good run in there. I think he's a freshman. Oh gosh, shoot. Sutter Heyman text line helped me with that. Who that individual was. I've been yes, Clark. That's Clark. It. Thank you, Milkman. Milkman on the text line. I appreciate you, Clark. I actually liked him. I like just the way he, they just had some, it looked like they had some spunk. You know what I mean? Like they were out there like, yeah, hey, they're probably the only ones to me that kind of, just had that little edge to them that I was watching, the energy and the edge. So I want to keep an eye on those young players.
I think that's definitely trust me, I would have no problem in younger players stepping up and really making an impact. Here's an interesting one.
Even though there was a question. Yeah, he said even though he got burned on a play. Yeah, I mean, but it was a man. It was actually, I remember that route. It was kind of like a little mini rub route. He was on the outside, got caught, and then the touchdown. I did see that, but it wasn't like it was, there are plays that can be ran right that can cause you to get some separation. It was a great throw from Helinski, great catch in the end of the end zone. But yeah, that wasn't necessarily his fault because he was playing outside leverage. I saw that. He just happened to be caught in kind of a mini rub. It wasn't a full rub, but it was a mini rub that kind of, he had to go around somebody and he just gave him some space. So yeah.
Speaking of Helinski, Nebraska found a way to make him look like a Heisman candidate, for crying out loud.
Boy.
Interesting text here on the text line. Nebraska under Frost has played to the level of competition they faced. Bad team equals bad play. Good team equals good showing. What consistently has hurt us has been the poor coaching decisions more so than bad play. The less involved Frost is in the OU game, the better our odds are of winning. If Frost can stick to the CEO role and stay out of his own way, we have a chance. Listen, I don't think that Texter here is entirely wrong. I don't think you're entirely. Listen, I hate just bringing up one play, but I just can't. I just keep thinking about that damn onside kick, and I haven't even gotten your thoughts on it yet, Strick. So I guess we might as well just parlay it into that conversation. Like I said this yesterday, and I'll say it until my face turns blue. I don't think under any circumstance one play decides a game. You played 60 minutes of football, and it was one play over the entire game. But I am a firm believer that one play can change momentum. And I think the biggest thing out of that play that I saw was that the momentum completely flipped. You went stop, touchdown, to open the third quarter. And halfway through the third quarter, you are dominating on both sides of the football, and you pull a stunt like that. Listen, Texter, I think in that sense, if Frost can step out of his own way, I think Nebraska might have a chance. Texter also says, unless we outscore our opponents in the next two games 140-17, we lose to Oklahoma, so we lose to Oklahoma. Texter says, we want to do a wing bet, 30-pack to the winner. Nebraska will lose to Oklahoma. All right. Texter, go ahead and send us your name and remind me here in a couple weeks. I might take that chicken wing bet. Speaking of which, if Thomas and Lincoln, if you're listening, I owe you chicken wings as well. Texter, go ahead and write down your name. I'll put you in our system. Talk to me in 2 weeks. I might take that chicken wing bet. I'm not taking that chicken wing bet right now. Texter says, here you go, Strick. I want to hear your hands on this. Line still can't block. Receivers have poor hands, and JoJo Doman must have been the player we had since Sue because they looked slow, out of position, and couldn't tackle. Is that something that you can fix before we reach Oklahoma?
Well, again, it's got to be collective. You know what I'm saying? It can't be one-offs. It has to be collective. They have to they're leaving guys out there on an island. It has to be guys are pursuing and running and flying to the ball. If you've got that kind of depth that Nebraska and we believe that they have at the position, there's no plays off. Like you shouldn't be as tired as what they were out there. But a lot of the reason, as one of the texters alluded to, is he talked about this is why you run the ball. You run the ball because you saw how Nebraska was worn out and they were tired. That's what I was talking about. That should have been us doing that. But it's like we got away from it. Yeah. We started smelling ourselves and got to throwing the ball all over the place. That's good. I mean, he had a good game. But guys were dropping passes and stuff was happening. I think the speed offense also, the running the balls real quick or running, not running the balls, but running plays just real quick. Maybe that wasn't for them. Maybe it was trying to get Northwestern tired, but it ended up we being the ones that were tired because when we couldn't move the ball, then it puts the defense out there and the defense has to, man up, and they didn't. They just didn't man up. Basically, Northwestern punished them. They made them, look like they were a stepchild.
It was talk about tackling and looking tired too. Texter says, do you want to know why you run the ball? Look at how tired Nebraska was in the fourth quarter. It was very visible how some of those guys, and Ty Robinson was a perfect example. It was like he was just getting pushed around there towards the end of the game because he just looked so damn tired. Markel says Heinrich didn't look like a Big Ten linebacker. Another big issue. A lot of these guys that were supposed to be leaders on that defense, those black shirts, didn't show up. I think that's a big part of it. Is I think we still need to remember and take with a grain of salt. It is still week 0. These things do take time. But
and that's what we talked about, Nate.
Yes.
We talked. What you just said is so important.
Yes.
I've said this because that's why I said a loss here isn't like an end all be all for me. The way they lost, yes, like so, one of the texters said
that's
that the onside kick was probably one of the worst calls in football history at that specific time. Especially you're trying to win a game, you're on the road in a neutral facility. I understand what you were trying to do with it, but at that point, that's not one of the ones that you try to do because it puts too much pressure on the defense, and you don't want that. You're up 11. Just go ahead and kick down, play field position. That's what we talked about. But I just think that what you just alluded to is important. Is how these guys, man, this game isn't an end all be all. Because you're talking about a whole hodgepodge of new players coming together under a new system, a new offensive coordinator, and still trying to find their way. So you can't really just ultimately say that's it. You would hope they would have been able to preserve and get through, but at the end of the day, it's not end all be all. There's still a lot to grow from. And they probably learned a lot about each other in the trenches, who you're looking next to at the end of the day.
And I think that's a big part of it too, Strick. And what was so frustrating for me is that if you had to tell me who was going to perform better in a week 0 game, I would have said the defense just because we knew a little bit more of what we were getting. Like the offense looked so new. Like for crying out loud, your top 3 players on offense, Trey Palmer, Casey Thompson, and Anthony Grant, are all new, and you could throw Marcus Washington into that group too. Like there was just so
much. Castaneda,
exactly. It's like you saw so much new, and then the defense. There was so much known outside of Tommy Hill and O'Shawn Mathis, Devin Drew, or Stephon Wynn. You can throw those guys into the mix as well. But I knew I was much more confident in the defense, and I think that's what's so frustrating is the defense simply just imploded basically in the second half. I mean, it just as a whole, it didn't look good. Not that the offense looked great, but if you would have told me before the game, Nebraska scores 28 points, guess what? I'd tell you they probably walk out of that game. They probably win. And unfortunately, that wasn't really the case. I have to give a shout out here. Texter says the onside kick call was the single worst call I've ever seen in college football history. And I'm old. Brian, met you at McKinney's. First time listening to the show. It's really good. We appreciate you, Brian. We appreciate all you guys. So keep chiming in as well. Brian, it was great meeting you and everyone that I saw at McKinney's. So Strick, I wasn't able to go to Ireland, obviously. So I had to get a little bit of an Ireland taste here in Nebraska. So I went over to McKinney's. I was drinking the Guinness. I don't know if it's bad luck now. Should I just not go to McKinney's, not drink Guinness for the game? I don't know. Maybe it's just bad luck at this point. But we again, like I said, we appreciate all of you guys texting in. We want to keep hearing from you because we've got a guy that follows this program just about closer than anyone coming up next. Steve Sipple from On3 Sports, also early break right here at the Ticket. We're going to dissect this entire game. We're going to get his thoughts. I know that he has a lot to say. He's been saying a lot, pushing out a lot of content as well. So if you guys have questions for him, comments, concerns, make sure you let us know. 402-464-5685. Sarah Heyman text line, Honda Lincoln hotline. You can also check us out Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter as well. You can check us out on all of those platforms. We'll have Steve Sipple on 3 early break. He's next on the block. 93.7 The Ticket.
Trendy or traditional, Gary Michaels Clothiers specializes in men's tailored clothing. Off the rack or custom made to measure, there is simply no better shopping experience. Offering designer furnishings, sportswear, shoes, outerwear, and accessories for a man always concerned at looking his best. With world-class tailoring and personal service, all makes Gary Michaels Clothiers Nebraska's premier store for men. Come visit us now at Village Gardens, south of 56th and Pine Lake Road in Lincoln.
Hey, this is Ernest Hausman. As a linebacker from Nebraska, I know how important it is to have a strong defense and a great playbook. If you are looking for a solid team to have your back, check out my friends at Burke Brown Law. Burke and Jackson will work with you to create an individualized strategy to bolster your defense.
Hi, this is Burke. Give us a call at 402-606-1441. With locations in Lincoln and Columbus, we're ready to tackle your needs. Find us online at burkebrownlaw.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank, a relationship you can count on.
Another warm, late August day on the way. We'll top out near 90 this afternoon. The north wind at around 10, plenty of sunshine. Overnight clear skies with a low dropping down to around 58. Even warmer tomorrow with a high of 94. Very slim chance of some late afternoon storms. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Casey's General Stores is giving away 2 tickets to each Nebraska football home game this season. To enter, just head to any Casey's General Store location in Lincoln during the football season, scan the QR code at the front counter, and fill out the online form. One winner will be chosen at random 2 days before that week's game. So head over to Casey's, stock up on all your tailgating snacks and drinks, and register to win 2 tickets to a Nebraska football game, brought to you by Casey's General Store and 93.7 The Ticket.
Warhorse Casino is bringing winning opportunities to Lincoln. Get in on the action at our next job fair, Tuesday, September 6th from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Husker Marriott. We're hiring trailblazers in every department: revenue auditors, IT, drop team, beverage servers, and more. Every employee is treated like family, and every role is essential in creating a one-of-a-kind experience. Go to warhorsecasino.com for more information or to apply.
You know that feeling after a good, hearty meal? The worries of the world just slip away. Time slows down. Nothing but good times and good company. That's what you get with Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Mary Ellen's does food right, with a menu that includes smoked wings, pulled pork, brisket, catfish. And don't sleep on their sides: shrimp and grits, collard greens, baked beans. It's food that makes your heart happy. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul, just east of 27th and Pineland. Let them fix you a plate.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's Sean Callahan, and football season is here, and there is one place that has all the games, plus great food and beer specials. Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. Whether it's Thursday night football, college football Saturdays, NFL Sundays, or Monday night football, there's a great view of the game from any seat with different food and drink specials every night. Try the Blue Ribbon Reuben Sandwich or the Prime Rib French Dip or any of their famous chicken wings. That's Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill.
There's a lot of realtors in Lincoln, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realtor Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate is your go-to option when buying or selling residential and commercial property. Ben's team offers unbeatable customer service and promises to make the buying and selling process as stress-free as possible. Call Ben today at 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate. No pressure, just professionalism.
In every office, there's 2 types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. Back to On the Block with Strick and Nate on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Texter says, I keep hearing everyone say you scored 28 points, you should win this game. Last year, Nebraska averaged 27.9 points in only won 3 games. My only pushback to that, Texter, Nebraska scored 27.9 last year. Last year, Northwestern had one of the worst offenses in the country, scoring just below 17 points a game. Things change. Things look different. But going into this game, if you had to say Nebraska scores 28, I certainly think they would have beat Northwestern. 402-464-5685, Honda Lincoln Hotline, Starter Heyman text line. We want to hear from you. Also, check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Hit us up on all of those platforms as well. Nate Brennan, he's back. What's going on?
Before you bring in the guest, real quick, because to address that situation with the texter that they just talked about the scoring of the 28 points. Mm-hmm. One of the things that we said on the happy hour show was they were missing 4 linemen last year. Mm-hmm. That's different. So when you're talking about bringing, remember when I talked about, see, a lot of people they listen, but they don't, they sometimes they think probably Stricky be just talking, just be throwing stuff out and hoping it stick to the wall. But I talked about, I have great play recall and I have great remembering of things that have been said. I talked about, if you remember, and you blockheads that have been listening, you can recall, I talked about what made the Spartans so great. And it was their abilities to know and to have grown up and to have been around those guys next to them. When they put that phalanx together, they knew what the guy's weaknesses, they knew what his strengths was. They knew if he was about to fall and about to, give up or give in, whatever the situation, or he needed just a little bit of extra just to help him to get through. They understood that's what made them great. That's what made them successful. That's what made them winners in war. That's what, is something to be mindful of with Northwestern. They came back with 4 guys that they're very familiar with each other. That is an important thing. Nebraska's down, Nuri, we're just now getting Prohaska. Juergens is gone. So you're still talking about new guys still trying to figure each other out on that line as well, and still kind of been placed in different places. And there's really no continuity still that they're still trying to work out as well. So that's something to just be aware of before we get to the guest.
Yeah, that's why I guess we'll just go right into it. We're going to ask the man that always has all of the answers, Steve Sipple from On3. Also here, early break 6 to 8 on 93.7 The Ticket. Sip, I'll just go ahead and ask you straight up. If you had to point to one thing and say that was kind of what did Nebraska in, what was the reason that they lost against Northwestern, what would you say it was?
Run defense, number 1. Lack of pass rush, number 2. Run defense, yeah, that's what I'd say. And then I'd say probably Nebraska's lack of run game, kind of inconsistency in that area. I think it's, and then then I'd probably go to the onside kick decision, number 4.
Yeah, Sip. So listen, one of the things that we had talked about as well is the interior line play and the importance of domination at that position. And what we've seen, Sip, is it seemed like it was the opposite of what we were hoping to have on our side at Nebraska. We was hoping to have a 150 plus. Yes, Casey Thompson did some things well, had some drop passes. Unfortunately, some of them turned into interceptions. But Northwestern did to us what we were hoping to do to them. Do you see this getting better? And what is it going to take for them in these next 2 games in preparation for Oklahoma? And because Sip, you and I both saw it, them holes were gaping and they were huge. So is this something that can be fixed, or is this something that we just really have to just see as a problem going forward?
Well, I hope not, because it'll be a long season. I hope there's a fix. I think that, they were out of gaps at times. Pad level wasn't great. Those are things you can fix. Tackling you can fix to a certain extent sometimes. You can improve tackling. You can work on finishing tackles. So yeah, I wouldn't say all hope is lost. Sometimes you just have a bad game. And maybe it'll look a lot different in the next few weeks. It has to, though. There's some concerns I have that maybe aren't fixable. Depth. I still think they're one guy short up front in the interior. And I still think I've always had a little bit of concern about the size of the inside backers and the depth behind those two veteran inside backers. They, as well as they played on the stat sheet last year, Reimer had 108 tackles. Henrich had 99. Now that's great. Okay. But there were times against heavy run teams, they got pushed around in the box, and they got pushed around the box a little bit, particularly Nick. So I don't know. They're not going to, Reimer's not going to go from 228 to 240. I mean, I'd like a little more heft in there, and I'd like one more body up front in the interior.
Sip, I keep kind of making these comparisons last year to Illinois. Just kind of walk me through that. Is that a fair comparison, or
No.
do we really need to consider this maybe even worse than what happened last year?
No, it's not fair, and it's not worse. I would totally disagree with that. That was a meltdown last year in Champaign. We didn't see a meltdown. Nebraska played horrible football in Champaign. They didn't play bad football in some ways against Northwestern. It wasn't, defense was a huge letdown. But it wasn't really just complete boneheaded mistakes, other than the decision to kick that onside kick.
Right.
But no, I don't compare them at all. I didn't come out of this one feeling anything like I felt about the game in Champaign. I thought that was embarrassing in Champaign, and this wasn't embarrassing. So no, I don't see any comparison. I really don't.
Sip, you were in the building. After that crucial play of the onside kick, what did you experience as far as the fans receiving of that? Not receiving of that, but the aftermath of that. What was your sense on the fans feeling when that momentum shifted at that moment?
Well, I was on the opposite. See, in the media area is out. It is outside at Aviva Stadium, and you are amongst the fans. But on our side, it was mostly Northwestern fans. I think I got a pretty good feeling for how Nebraska fans felt about it on Twitter, and it wasn't a great feeling. I think there was a lot of bewilderment. I was bewildered, and those kind of situations, I don't mind saying, kind of challenge me, because I'm not, I kind of present myself as someone who knows a lot, but I've never coached a game in my life. Okay, I don't. So when that kind of thing happens, my first thought is, God, that's not normal, is it? That's not. You can't do that. It didn't seem. It just felt beyond the realm of normal for me to try an onside kick with 9 minutes left in the third quarter. Yeah,
third quarter.
Surprises you're trying to get them. I get that, but I think it was mostly bewilderment, and then you got to be kidding me, which I guess you got to be kidding me as an expression of bewilderment. So I'll just stick with bewilderment.
So then, go ahead, Nate.
Yeah, I want to ask, because we have on the text line a question for you. Just straight up, they say, can you ask Sip, do we win the game if we don't kick the onside?
Well, you're up 28-17. If you kick off and hold them, yeah, you have a much better chance. I mean, now you have to allow the fact that Northwestern was moving the ball a lot, and at 28-17. Now, if you get the ball, if if you hold them and score, they're in big trouble because now they're not going to be able just to stick to their run game. They're going to have to start throwing. But here's the thing. They were throwing the ball well. They found some things in the middle of the field. They exploited Nebraska's interior defense. Corners were great. Now, Nebraska's corners played a great game. They both graded really well. Quentin Newsome, Tommy Hill, even Braxton Clark. And the layman could see that the corners played well. But the inside linebackers got exploited in the pass game. I'd say safeties did. I think Northwestern would have kept moving. I just don't know that I'd go so far as to say without that onside kick, Nebraska wins. I can't go that far.
Sip, I'm going to ask you this, and you can take this whichever way you want. If the fan base is looking for some positives to take out of this, some momentum moving forward, is there anything that you can look at specifically?
Buschini. I mean, I think the special teams in general, I think it's showing signs of being pretty shored up. I think Casey, I should have mentioned Casey first. I really think, for instance, on Saturday, you'll see a quarterback who's dialed in. I'm not worried about Casey Thompson in any way. You can say this nowadays. He's a professional. I mean, he comports himself in a professional manner. He'll show up. You saw him today, or maybe you didn't. If you did, at the podium today at the press conference, he was just typical, very professional, dialed in self. And that's the way he'll be on game day. Yeah, I think absolutely there are reasons to think they could spin out of this. I'm not betting on it. Okay, it's going to be tough. I'm saying now, I predicted 7-5, but this was one of the wins. So I'm down to 6. And I think I have a feeling they might not be as good as I thought they were. So maybe I'm down to 5. So it's not like I feel really, really confident, but there are definitely reasons why a Nebraska fan could hold in there. You're going to get Omar Manning back this week, I think. Vokalek, if he gets back, you're still pretty good at the skill positions. Big concern. I think the big concern is the defense. I mean, it's a strange the way that turned, but Chenander's got a lot of work to do in these next couple weeks to get some things shored up for Oklahoma. You have to do it. I mean, I know this. If I were on that defense, if I was a leader, if I was Tanner or Nelson or Henrich, I'd be really motivated right now. I'd have no problem getting ready for this game. They have a lot to prove in these next 2 weeks. A lot. That was a terrible letdown by the defense. So, I don't think they should have any problem getting up for it.
All right, it's Steve Sipple on 3. Also joins us here early break 6 to 8 on 93.7 The Ticket. Last question I'll ask you, and it's kind of the elephant in the room. Scott Frost, what do you think this looks like here in the next couple weeks? I know a lot of fans looking at October 1st date. Some fans are also saying write it out. Where are you kind of with the Scott Frost era?
Well, it's like I always am. I think you got to be fair in the conversation and let it play out until it becomes obvious that you have to make a move. Either way, make a move that say, yeah, this is going to be okay, or make a move that it's not going to be okay. I think it'll be pretty evident. I think there'll be a point it will be evident. Now, Nate, if they're, if they end up 6-6, it's not going to be evident. Okay. And then there's going to be a lot of bickering in the fan base. 7-5, there probably would be a fair amount of bickering in the fan base. But maybe it would resolve itself before you get to that point. That's what I kind of wonder. So my style and my modus operandi has always been to let it play out and see. I just want to be fair here. I want to be fair to the staff and the players.
It'll definitely be interesting to see, especially if that 6-6, 7-5 record is kind of how it shapes out. Definitely not off to a great start for getting above that. That's for sure. Sip, if people want to get more great coverage from you, I know you've been writing up a ton of stuff. You are also joining us every morning. You got lots to say. If people want to get more great content from you, how can they do so?
Well, I work for Nebraska On 3. That's the best place to go. Go to on3.com and go to the Nebraska team site. We'll have some pretty major news on Wednesday, by the way, about our site, or Thursday maybe, or let's say Wednesday at midnight. You can find me on Twitter, and I'm on the radio with Jake in the morning, every morning. That's the most fun I have pretty much in my life. 6 to 8 every morning on the ticket. So thank you for asking.
Sip, we appreciate you. Stay safe. Hopefully we can get a win this upcoming Saturday. That'd be pretty nice.
Nice being on with you guys. Strick, have a good one. Nate, have a good one.
He goes Steve Sipple with On 3. Also joins us in the morning right here on the ticket as well. We're going to have a little bit of a crossover. Haven't seen Jay Foreman yet. He's definitely on his way. DP is in the building. I know he's got plenty to say. Strick, he's going to stick with us for a little bit too. We've definitely missed having him around. So we're going to have a little bit of crossover with old school. We're going to keep diving into this. Plenty to still talk about. It's, for what it's worth, it's game week. Bring on North Dakota. We're going to keep this conversation going, keep breaking everything down for you right here on the block. 93.7 The Ticket.
The Labor Day savings event is going on now at Schaefer's. Take advantage of store-wide savings, interest-free financing, and special Labor Day cashback rebates. Save on LG, Sony, and Samsung TVs and get up to 18 months interest-free. Choose from all the latest models. And you can sleep easy on a new Serta mattress set with adjustable base and up to $1,000 in savings. Hurry in for the Labor Day savings event going on now at Schaefer's, 48th and R, Lincoln.
The dog days of summer are here. Is your yard in need of a touch-up as we head into the fall season? August, September, and October are the months for aeration, and Penner Sprinkler and Lawn is the place to call to get the job done right. If you're noticing any issues with your sprinkler system through the hot summer months, they're always a call away, and they're already scheduling installs for sprinkler systems for next year and all other lawn care needs. Call Penner Sprinkler and Lawn today at 402-413-1215.
Take your tan to the max at Max Tan. Right now, get 10 days for $10. All levels, including sun, spray, and red light. 4 Lincoln locations make it easy to take your tan to the max with no appointment necessary. 10 days, $10. Details online at Max Tan.
Hey, it's Sean Callahan, and football season is here, and there is one place that has all the games, plus great food and beer specials. Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. Whether it's Thursday night football, college football Saturdays, NFL Sundays, or Monday night football, there's a great view of the game from any seat with different food and drink specials every night. Try the Blue Ribbon Reuben sandwich or the prime rib French dip or any of their famous chicken wings. That's Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill.
There's a lot of realtors in Lincoln, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realtor Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate is your go-to option when buying or selling residential and commercial property. Ben's team offers unbeatable customer service and promises to make the buying and selling process as stress-free as possible. Call Ben today at 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate. No pressure, just professionalism.
Hey, this is Ernest Hausman. As a linebacker from Nebraska, I know how important it is to have a strong defense and a great playbook. If you are looking for a solid team to have your back, check out my friends at Burke Brown Law. Burke and Jackson will work with you to create an individualized strategy to bolster your defense.
Hi, this is Burke. Give us a call at 402-606-1441. With locations in Lincoln and Columbus, we're ready to tackle your needs. Find us online at burkebrownlaw.com.
Eustace Body Shop, where our customers send their friends. That's the greatest compliment we can receive. If you've been in an accident, we'll get you back in your vehicle as quickly as possible. Our technicians care about you and your family and repair your vehicle to factory standards. We handle your claim from start to finish and provide a free loaner car. Stop by for a free estimate. Eustace Body Shop, just south of 88th and Highway 2.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are. John Henry's Plumbing, heating and air.
When it comes to your home or business, we know you have options, and that's why John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning gives you just that. Options. We have plumbing, heating, and cooling memberships to serve all of your residential and commercial needs. We want to ensure you, your family, and your business are safe. Visit our website, jhlincoln.com, to find out more or call us at
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, heating and air.
Casey's General Stores is giving away 2 tickets to each Nebraska football home game this season. To enter, just head to any Casey's General Store location in Lincoln during the football season, scan the QR code at the front counter, and fill out the online form. One winner will be chosen at random 2 days before that week's game. So head over to Casey's, stock up on all your tailgating snacks and drinks, and register to win 2 tickets to a Nebraska football game, brought to you by Casey's General Store and 93.7 The Ticket.
Hey, buying a used vehicle sucks, and the biggest problem is who can you trust? Hey, this is Carl from Price Right Auto out here at West O Street in Lincoln. Here's what customers have told us they want from us. They want transparent pricing with no games. We have all of our pricing on our website, plus a Carfax report. We don't want to buy a lemon. We include a 3-month warranty on all of our vehicles. We don't want to play games. Just make it simple. We saw that with non-commissioned salespeople. Can you trust us? Just check out our Google reviews. Again, this is Carl from Price Right Auto in West O. Check us out at pricerightauto.com.
You know that feeling after a good, hearty meal? The worries of the world just slip away. Time slows down. Nothing but good times and good company. That's what you get with Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Mary Ellen's does food right, with a menu that includes smoked wings, pulled pork, brisket, catfish. And don't sleep on their sides, shrimp and grits, collard greens, baked beans. It's food that makes your heart happy. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul, just east of 27th and Pineland. Let them fix you a plate.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5. Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again. Then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Nate on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You listen to On the Block 93.7 The Ticket. My name is Nate Brennan. He is the Husker Hall of Famer Eric Strickland. Also having a little crossover action with DP from Old School. What's going on?
What's happening?
Same old. Still
DP in the building.
Stricky baby.
Back.
You going in the wrong direction, man. You're supposed to travel towards Lincoln. That's how this.
Listen, I was real salty, DP, on the return. I was literally flying almost 24 hours, DP. Literally in the air and circling, and then to get there when you're tired, and they tell you your plane is no longer going to your end destination. Yeah. I was like, oh no, I'm not. I'm already salty from the trip.
Right.
I'm already salty and tired from just being on the plane that long. I'm already salty and tired that Nebraska laid an egg.
Right.
I said I need some sun and something just to ease my mind. Look, but I will be back in Lincoln this week, definitely before this next game for sure.
Strick, I got a surprise for you. Jay's also joining us now. He decided to show up today. How about that?
Oh, Jay Foreman. Oh, listen, Jay Foreman.
Bring that camera around. Let's get.
I know for sure, Jay, my guy saw how big those doggone holes were, and they were very gaping. They looked like you could ride a Peterbilt truck through them things as big as them holes was. Where was the fill in? Where was any of the energy and the passion needed to close down some of them gaps, my boy? I need some understanding from a defensive perspective.
Yeah, I mean it was middle of third quarter. You saw some big holes. I think sometimes Strick is when your fundamentals kind of go and you get a little tired. They say fatigue makes cowards of us all. Whatever. Nobody could beat that. So Then when your technique is bad and your fundamentals, you look real soft, and that's where you get, big holes. When you're in games like that and teams that, see, they're like sharks and see blood in the water, you got to dig deep, man. And so you got to be able to, go back on your fundamentals and make a stop. We got to make a stop. It can't be, I'm going to make a stop. Because what happens is if you try to do something that's what you're not supposed to do, that's usually where those big holes happen. And that goes true for explosive plays. It's usually a bust or, a big, explosive run like that, or big holes like that, or, a bust in some ways that somebody's out of their gap. Guys start picking and choosing when you're running to the ball. And then when you're running to the ball, you're not running with the right angles. You're not, rallying to the ball with the right closeout. And then you can give up some cutbacks. And so these are all things that are correctable, but, these are things that you don't want to have to the magnitude or the amount in the first game. So generally, everybody's been, I've been saying it, the first game for me, and I think for a lot of people, coaches included, is the hardest because, you could. I mean, even you Nick Saban, those guys, or Kirby Smart coming off a championship, you still have to get used to doing it again, and you'd like to think that you could be able to rebound or recover, and that's when you got to, that's when you got to rally together as a team, but or as a defense. But see, here's the problem: everything looks good on paper. They just don't have experience playing with each other. And when you have an experienced coaching staff that kind of sees something that you're weak in, they tend to go back to it.
Yeah, we're going to take 10 seconds here for station ID real quick.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Didn't mean to cut you off there, Jay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough game. I guess the best thing for them is that, they play Saturday. I would hate to have a game like that to that magnitude, that many missed tackles, that many plays that just looked bad. You know what I mean? But I understand. I can see how things can look like that. And I don't think these kids are like, I don't think they like want to, like when Nebraska lost 77 to whatever against Kansas, those kids quit, and some Mike Riley. I don't think it was like that. I just think they just played really, really bad. And they played really, really bad from a fundamental standpoint. And then you start guessing. And then that, they say that stuff comes downhill, boy. And they was just down there just in the bottom of that hill or that mountain, just taking that dookie right in your face. In your face, though.
It looks like Jay, it looks
club like that, though.
Jay, to me, man, I absolutely hear you. What it looked like to me, man, it looked like the flake game. Like you could see their shoulders shrug and just head down, and they was going back to the huddle, and they were, and I mean, you didn't have no rallying point. There was nothing like right here, like right now, there was none of that. It was just like, oh, here we go again. That's what it looked like.
A little bit of that. I think a lot of guys were waiting for somebody else to make a play, and then once you're kind of waiting, it never comes to fruition. A little bit of the defense, defense of the offense, a triculate and percolate up and down the field in the first half, and a little bit they scored 14 quick points, in the second half. So there's like, hey, you're like, oh, they'll score. They'll score. And it's almost the analogy, Strick, is in basketball, right? Oh, we're not playing steady D, but eventually Steph Curry or somebody to hit a three. Well, Steph Curry's human, or just anybody's human. And then you go 0 for 10 down the last like 8 minutes in basketball, and you can't buy a bucket. And then you miss 2 free throws or front end or one-on-one. Then you end up losing to a team you ain't got no business losing to. And then the differences in football is that you only get 12 of these games. Now, the good thing for them, and this is honest to God truth, their schedule still hasn't changed. You know what I mean? It isn't like they lost to Northwestern and then, the Big Ten or the schedule said, all right, well, now you got to play Ohio State, Michigan back-to-back. The schedule's not changed. It's still an easy schedule, right? So if you get your stuff together, you still can salvage and you can still win a lot of games. So that's not changing. What has to change is how you go about it. And you don't have spring. You know, you don't have like, okay, well, we need to really add this in the spring. You in the season now. It's code red or whatever. It's DEFCON 1. Def 5 is kind of like when you just getting started. We at 1. You just went from 5 to 1, and every day it's 1.
So here's where I get nervous, because as you said, it's a DEFCON 1. It's a DEFCON 1 against North Dakota. It's DEFCON 1. It was DEFCON 1 against Northwestern. It was DEFCON 1 against everybody from game 1 last year. It was the most important game in Scott Frost history. It was the most important game in recent Nebraska history every single week. And folks have gotten I kept telling people, stop being okay with that nonsense, because it's where you get your mail. See, now you live here, and something drastic has to happen for you to get out of the comfort. Like the new players were looking around like, well, where's the juice? It's the leaders who have been here and got comfortable that didn't have an answer. You know why? Because they did what they've always done. They looked around and wanted somebody else to pump the brakes.
Listen here, dog. I promise you, there have been about a brother that's 6'2", 250 some odd pounds that would have been raising holy hell on that sideline if I was.
That's why you a Hall of Famer, and that's why there are no Hall of Famers on this roster.
No, I'm talking about if my Hall of Fame that's done. I'm talking about if I was there as a volunteer, I'd have been volunteering, getting in your cheeks. Because
winning is learned, losing is learned.
Right.
And this program has learned to lose, learned to be close and close enough. But something has to set fire.
Well, I mean, if this isn't the wake-up call that everybody would need, and you can say this with also saying they did a lot of good things. They just did some really easy things bad. Communication pre-snap. I think you heard Caleb Tanner say everybody's got to do their job, job, and then run to the ball.
G-O-B first.
I know, right? Right.
He said G-O-B.
I was trying to
try to help him, right?
Trying to bypass.
Trying to help him, right?
But so they did some really easy things, really really bad at times.
That's what bothers me, though.
Yeah, well, so that's what's bothersome. So at the end, but then at the flip side, they did some really good things, and so that should give you a little bit of pause. But at the end of the day, those simple things are the same simple things that why you were 3-9 last year.
Exactly.
So now you have to really sit back and say, okay, and this is what I said yesterday. Every player needs to check themselves straight up. They need to check, and I haven't been down there. I haven't talked to anybody, nor it's not.
And every coach.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, that's just everybody needs to look hard at themselves and say, what can I do better, and let's do it. This ain't the time to turn off the lights and just put up the quit sign. And this is the time to come together and figure it out. And it's not like, nothing, not taking anything against North Dakota away from North Dakota, but it's not like you're playing Ohio State week 2, right? Or you played like this in like week 3, and you still have times to get your stuff together. It's actually the few times since you've been in the Big Ten, you got everything still at your advantage, right? So as bad as you looked, you can remedy it. It's not, and don't they dare think like if you go out there and beat North Dakota that you need to be patted on the back.
That's what you should do.
Well, no. Just keep doing what you're doing, right? Just do it.
There are no games they should be smelling themselves.
No, not
right.
all.
But that's what that
revenge game. You're right.
This is the time. Right. This is the time. Less talking, more doing.
Yep.
Your pads and your play do the talking. You get what I'm saying?
Period.
Well, this is a big question for you off of that. Jay Byron says, can you guys explain to me why we don't tackle to the ground and practice multiple times a week? We get pushed around every year.
I don't know. I ain't the coach. I ain't down there, so I don't know. I know Ohio State tackles to the ground. That's factual. Bobby Carpenter told me that. And you can't do. And listen here, and I understand the rules are different. The rules are different, and I'm fine with that. But you can have a period or two a week where you get after it,
right,
and then turn it down.
Programs that have depth can do that.
That's what they talked about, DP.
Oh, man,
They've talked about that.
Jay, you said
Come on,
you guys had depth. You were 5 deep, and it was legit. It was legit.
Okay, that's fine.
Strick will say this. Look, they went live with them groups with Tony Farmer and them dudes in the second group. You know why? Because they had depth. You had quarterbacks and running backs who dragged themselves into Saturday games because they were already beat up. Now,
no, we didn't. I mean, at the end of the day, if you gonna play football, this ain't a game that you stop tiptoeing. All right. I mean, let's just be real. Okay. I mean, now it's a day. We had now we.
Hey Nathan.
We went at each other because we had depth. I mean, come on, man. I ain't trying to hear this,
Jay,
man.
Jay, we know.
I'm not trying to hear this, man.
Hey, we not no stop. P-footing around. We ain't doing all that, man. No, man. I don't want to hear that foolishness.
And I understand if you are a little low at some numbers, right? And you got some guys.
But it seems like they never hit, is what it sounds like.
I wouldn't say that. I just think that at the end of the day, they just need to get back to get to the point to where they just got to get better at the fundamental. They'll tell you they just got to get better at the fundamentals. It's not a schematic thing. If it was a schematic thing, it would be really, really alarming. It's not a schematic thing.
I just think
so. With that being said, now they just got to play. They got to play better. Now you can say the coach. Everybody just needs to do better.
Yeah,
they got to perform.
Back to the basics too.
That's the move.
Back to basics. Strick, are you going to be back tomorrow? Or we're going to see you later in the week.
I'm there tomorrow, my guy. I'm on the block.
All right, we will see you tomorrow then.
I'm on the block then. I'm on the block Thursday. I'll be back in the house unless a plane says you not gonna make it again. Unless that's it. But that's not happening.
Well, it sounds like we will see Strick tomorrow. He is officially back, ready to go. We'll break down a little bit more of the North Dakota game, kind of get into those specifics tomorrow. For myself, Nate Brennan, for the Husker Hall of Famer Eric Strickland, we'll see you tomorrow on the block. Old School is next, right here, 93.7 The Ticket.